A lockdown match coverage is the best way to shut down those high-powered passing offenses in Madden 24, and this is going to allow you to react to anything your opponent throws your way. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys a complete breakdown on the best lockdown coverage in Madden, Cover 4 Palms. But first, what is match coverage? It is a defense that has defenders playing zone, but they are reading receivers and will either man up players and lock them down, or they can become free to double team and bracket other players, or play zone and look for work, helping on anyone who comes into their area. And this can lead to a ton of confusion and some big mistakes for offenses. Now, match coverage based schemes are swiftly becoming the go-to defensive strategy in both college football and the NFL. They provide an excellent framework for defending against the modern spread passing attack, and in my opinion, implementing and mastering them in Madden is the best way to play defense. Now, in our match coverage schemes, we will always start with two safeties back. This allows us to implement a wide range of coverages while always disguising our looks because we stay with two safeties back. Match defense is an aggressive defensive approach specifically crafted to give us a numerical upper hand in our pass defenses, where we can bracket and take away route combos that you can't in a normal zone coverage look. In Madden, the brilliance of match coverage is its capability to neutralize deadly route combos without resorting to zone drops. Not only can we counteract deep corner routes by matching them, but we can also employ double teams, effectively eradicating these routes. Additionally, we can get double teams on deep crossing routes, neutralizing two of Madden's most utilized and abused routes, and overall this can help us limit many go-to plays in Madden. Then playing with this match scheme is built for players who love the X's and O's side of Madden. You need to be very aware of your individual assignments on each play and what match defense you should use against every offense you come up against. This heightened awareness not only refines your Madden gameplay, but also enhances your comprehension of football in general and will give you a much deeper understanding of current NFL and college defenses. Now, this quarters coverage is all part of a bigger defensive scheme I am working on, and it is based around the Georgia Bulldogs and their historic run under their head coach Kirby Smart. Now, Kirby cut his teeth as the defensive coordinator of the Crimson Tide championship teams in the early 2010s under Nick Saban. Then in 2016, he was hired to be the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs and brought with him the bones of the Tide defense, but updated it to fit the current landscape of college football. He moved to more nickel defenses that had 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 DBs to help match up with more of the spread and speed looks of the current college football landscape, and we are going to be doing the same. Then he also brought the heavy match coverage based defenses that Bama was starting to employ, and this gave him an insane amount of checks and options to answer to whatever the offense was trying to accomplish. Now, I'm going to leave a link down in the description for this whole Georgia defensive scheme for you to check out, and you can watch everything else that comes out for this defense as it is released. Now, we are going to be breaking down Palms versus 3x1 sets. This is my go-to defense whenever we play these offenses. Then we will touch on 2x2 sets, but I prefer quarters against those looks, and I broke that down in the last video, which I will link down in the description below. Now, this coverage is a part of the Nick Saban, Kirby Smart Cover 7 family of coverages, and this is what they would call stubby, except they like to press their corner on the outside versus trips, and we will play ours in off coverage. So first, when I say 3x1, this means 3 receivers to one side of the field and 1 to the other. But first, we're going to look at when the receiver is split out, not in line like trips tight end. The trip side, when we're playing trips tight end, will play the exact same, but we have different rules for the tight end himself, and we'll be going over that at the end of the breakdown. Now, first, let's look at our 2 outside corners. And when I'm talking about match coverage, you'll hear me say read 1 to 2 to 3 or 2 to 1 or anything along those lines. What that refers to is number 1 will always be the outside receiver on that side of the ball, then it goes in. So 2 would be the next receiver in, and then if it's trips, he would be number 3. So for both our outside cornerbacks, on both the solo and trip side, they're going to be what we call mag. This means man everywhere he goes. So both these corners are going to X out this player and follow their receiver all over the field on any route. Next, we have our quarter flat on the trip side. He is going to read 3 to 2. So now if 3 goes right to the flats, then he is just going to take him. So any out route, flat route, or whip, he'll just match him to the flat. Then if number 3 goes vertical, so 5+ yards up the field, or if he goes inside shallow to the middle of the field, then the quarter flat will look to number 2, and now he will just basically man up number 2 wherever he goes. So anything quick to the flats, he will take him, or if there's anything vertical up the field, could be a seam route, corner route or a crosser, he is just going to go with him everywhere. Next, we have the trip side safety. Now, he will read 3 to 2. So if 3 gets vertical, which means 5+ yards, he's going to take him on any route. So that could be a post going over the middle or a corner cutting out or a seam going directly upfield. Now, if number 3 stays shallow, so could be a hitch, slant, or out route, the safety will look to number 2. And if he gets vertical up the field, he will convert to man coverage and take him anywhere he goes. Then if number 3 and 2 both stay shallow, the safety will look to number 1. And if he runs vertical into the middle of the field, like on a post, he will bracket him with the corner and there will be double coverage on this receiver. Next, we have the safety on the solo side. Now, he is going to be very free to help wherever is needed on this play. So first, he will look to 1 on the solo side. And if he runs anything vertical, then he will bracket number 1 with the cornerback. Then if 1 doesn't go vertical, then he will look to the trip side and just pick up any crosser or any vertical route coming to the middle of the field that he sees. Then we have the quarter flat on the solo side. Now, he is going to be playing Meg on the running back. So anywhere he goes, even if it's vertical up the field or if he runs to the trip side, he will follow him. Then if the running back stays in the block, then he will just play the flats and help on anything there. Then lastly, we have the 3 receiver hook. Now, he will look to number 3, and if he gets vertical on a crosser, he's going to wall this player off and take away the quick throw till the safety gets to him. Then he will just come off him and play a hook over the middle. Or if number 3 runs a shallow drag in the middle, then the 3 receiver hook will match him and take him across the field. So that is our basic rules versus trips. Now, when we are playing versus a trips tight end offense, the trip side has the exact same rules, but now on the solo tight end, we will play different. This is going to apply if he plays in line or if he's split out like a yard or 2 and standing up. Now here, if the tight end goes vertical, so straight up the field on a streak, then the solo side cornerback on that side will match him up the field. Or if the tight end runs a corner route or anything to the outside, then the cornerback will match him. But then if the tight end breaks in, the safety on that side is going to pick him up. So that could be a shallow drag across the field and he's just going to run with him, or it could be a deep cross or post. Then this inside safety will just take him and carry him across the field. So just be aware, if you want to play trips tight end, the only thing that changes is really this tight end. And if you want to user this high safety, which I'll be going over later, you have to be aware of these rules. Now, really quick, let's look at palms versus 2x2. But remember, this isn't my preferred way to play. I will play quarters versus 2x2, but it's good for you guys to know how palms works. And once again, if you want to check out my quarters vid, I will link it down below. So 2x2 just means 2 receivers on each side of the ball. Now, overall, palms is going to play very similar to quarters. If there is an inline tight end on one of the 2x2 sides, then that side is just going to play normal quarters. It is only going to change on the side where there is an outside receiver and a slot receiver. So on this side, the cornerback is going to read 2 to 1. Now, if 2 goes right out to the flats, then the cornerback is going to jump number 2 right away and pass off number 1 to the safety. And now the safety will just lock him up and take him deep. Then if 2 goes vertical, then the corner will just look to 1. If he goes vertical, he will take him deep. But if 2 goes vertical and 1 stays shallow, then the corner on the outside is just going to help the safety take number 2 deep. And once again, this is really the only major difference between palms and quarters versus 2x2. Then to make this cover 4 palms even better, head over to my website, Scheme Kings, and up right now is a complete breakdown on how we can use match coverage against empty and I-form formations. These are 2 of the most common formations you will face in Madden, and these match defenses can completely lock them down and really take your match coverage defense to the next level. Then also on the site for this Georgia defense, we have a couple of great 3-4 blitz packages and a really good 3rd down blitz package out of this dime 2-3 formation. Then I have a ton more planned for this Georgia defense that is going to make this one of the best in all of Madden 24. Then also on the site is a new area where you can find all my schemes from Madden 23, and this is where my Madden 24 NFL spread offense is, where we break down the Bills Josh Allen scheme, the Joe Burrow Bengals offense, the Jalen Hurts Eagles offense, and the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs offense on the site. Also on the site, you can get access to my playbooks, which are full written breakdowns for my schemes, and there are 7 out so far, with the newest being my brand new Madden 24 NFL Spread Revolution offense, and this is 66 pages long and will take your offense to the next level. Then also starting today, I'm running a sale on the site. You can use code DOGS at checkout for 50% off your first month. So if you want to check out Scheme Kings, there will be a link for it down in the description below. Now today I'm running palms at a dime 2-3, and this can be found in all of these playbooks, but the palms rules we went over will work with any version you use in any playbook. Then for coaching adjustments, I like to play with baseline turned on. Then we actually need to go and turn match coverage on, or your players will just play normal zone coverage. If you are playing old gen though, then you don't need to turn on match coverage. It is turned on automatically. Now I want to go over some adjustments I make for this defense to play even better and how this will play against different ways offenses are going to try to attack this Palms defense. Now, one thing you can do is manually change your quarter flats into hard flats on the solo receiver side. I don't think it's necessary to have our quarter flat follow the running back to the opposite side of the field, so I'd rather him go right to the flat, and if the running back goes to the other side, he can pass him off to the 3 receiver hook and the wide side flat defender, and instead you can have this guy stay in the flat and pick up anything across the field into his zone. Now, the one thing you have to be careful of is if the running back on this side runs a wheel, then this quarter flat is not going to match him and he can get open down the field. So if they start running wheels, then leave your quarter flat out there, and now he will match that running back going vertical up the field. Then the other thing I'll do a ton is I will take the trip side corner and I'll put him in a deep half. Now, the reason is if the wide receiver runs a slant or a drag, then I don't need my cornerback chasing him across the field. I can pass the wide receiver off to the underneath coverage. Then if he runs anything vertical, then he'll be running to our deep half anyways, and he will be right there to lock him down. Then the only other thing that could happen is number one on this side could run a post to the solo side, but this takes a super long time to develop, and we're going to be using this backside safety who is totally free, and now we can help lock up this player if we do see him starting to come open. So I think this deep half helps a ton on the trip side by taking number one if he goes vertical and, locking him down. But then also if number one goes shallow, now he's going to be playing over top of other vertical routes and helping take those away. Now let's touch on the backside safety here. He will always be our user, and I like to manually bring him down in between the linebackers and sit at about 8 yards. We really have almost complete freedom when we have our D set up this way, and where we can really just help anywhere on the field. And the big thing we're going to be looking for is crossers from the opposite side, and if we see these coming, we can lock them down, and I make a ton of plays on the ball when this happens. Or if the solo side receiver ever comes into the middle, then we can also help take that away. But now let's look at the trip side and how good it is at taking away vertical concepts against trips. Now, if they run 4 verts, we will just match across the board, plus we'll have our cornerback deep halved over the top, and this is just going to totally wipe this concept out. Or if they're running a flood concept to the trip side, we will mirror that across the board and take it away without giving them anything easy. But I do find that if we run it just the normal way, we can be susceptible in the flats. So they can run off our quarter flat, and then he will leave this area. And now if they have a running back coming from the other side, this can have some room underneath. Or if they run whips from the number 2 receiver, he can actually get really nice separation underneath against a quarter flat as well. So another option you have, and what I like to do a good amount of the time, is actually hard flat the trips quarter flat. Now you don't have to do this, but this is going to make him go right to the flats and do a much better job of taking any whip or running back underneath and just taking those away. And with it set up like this, you might ask, what about something like flood? Because our quarter flat is no longer going to be matching down the field. Well, this is what I love, is it doesn't matter if it's number 2 who runs the corner route and number 3 goes to the flat. This safety is going to match this corner route and do a really good job on it. Or if it's the opposite and it's number 3 deep to the outside on the corner route and it's 2 to the flats, we will still lock it up. Now, if they run something like 4 verts as well, we are still going to be good, because now we're going to have this safety over the top, even though our quarter flat doesn't match them down the field. And now we can have the safety pick up number 3 on the crosser, and then as the user, we will just pick up number 2 coming in behind him, and we can just totally wipe this out. So I do like to use the hard flat on this trips player quite a bit, but you don't have to. You can have him matching down the field. It just really depends if you want to lock down the flats or do an even better job on the vertical stuff down the field. Another thing to keep in mind though, if you do want to run a hard flat with this quarter flat, is if they run a slot wheel from number 2 or number 3, now this quarter flat is not going to match this player. We will have this deep half over the top who can come down on this wheel, but there is going to be a pretty decent hole there. So if you are getting hit with wheels, leave your quarter flat out there, and now he's just going to match this wheel up the field and take it away. So yeah, big thing here is just mix in between hard flatting this player and leaving him on a quarter flat, and you are going to be able to limit basically anything an offense is trying to do. Overall, I love this Palms defense. I think it is absolutely incredible, and when I see someone in trips, I actually get excited. The amount of plays you will make with your user is absolutely incredible, and you have so much freedom to rob plays over the middle. And once you really get a read on what people are doing and understanding each of your vendors' assignment, you are going to lock people down and they will have absolutely no shot. This cover 4 Palms defense is going to be one of the best lockdown pass coverages you will use all year. But don't forget, there is a ton more for this Georgia defense up right now on Scheme Kings, giving you a ton of options to make this scheme one of the best in all of Madden. But then if you want a full breakdown of cover 4 quarters, where I go over all the rules and assignments just like I did here for Palms, then you need to check out this video right here.